And welcome to episode 43 of the Beantown Banter podcast. As always, joined by Patrick Donnelly. I am Brady Gardner. Patrick, how's it going?
We're sleepwalking right now, but for
Oh
the good
no,
show, we'll trudge on.
that's the spirit. That really sets you up for a really entertaining show, doesn't it? When you just right off the bat, we're feeling it a little bit. But there's a lot to talk about, Patrick. So we are bringing the energy and bringing the sports news, and we will start off with your Boston Red Sox, who are coming out of the All-Star break, heading into the second half here. And guess what? It's not going well.
Nope.
You're through 6 games here in the second half, and you're 3-3. So we'll start with that first series right out of the All-Star break against the LA Dodgers. And it was a little bit of a prove-it kind of series where this is still a really top team. Obviously, you played them and beat them in the World Series last year, and they're still doing great up there in the NL. They're still dominating. They've got one of the MVP candidates in Cody Bellinger swinging the bat really hot. This is a dangerous team, and you're facing some of their best pitchers. And so it was kind of a, let's see what you're made of here. Can you turn the page, switch it into the second half? And sure enough, well, they did for one game, but they couldn't close it out with the last two. Lost the series 2-3. Just not good, Patrick. And it feels like every time you give this team an opportunity to prove themselves, they come up short.
Yeah, it feels that way. We were talking about our expectation for the second half, and we're like, the offense is going. You added a pitcher. I think we talked about that. I think they got Cashner that show. Actually, no, they didn't. That was between shows.
Really?
Yeah, but we were
Okay.
like, if they get a pitcher, good things could be on the way. They get the pitcher, the offense keeps rolling, and nothing.
Right. So let's run through the results here. So you started off against LA, 8-1 win on a game that was kind of split by a rain delay. Felt good. Felt like your offense was there. You had, Bogarts and Devers still swinging the bat hot, and the pitching was getting it done with Eduardo Rodriguez getting his 10th or his 9th, I believe. No, 10th win of the season. And then very next night you come back, and Chris Sale, your ace on the mound, absolutely slapped. You lose 11-2. Offense disappears for the first time in a while, it feels like. And you lose to this guy Stripling, who's only has 4 wins on the year, but that's still more than Chris Sale, who only has 3 wins, still has not won at Fenway Park in more than a calendar year. Patrick, what the heck is going on with Chris Sale? What is it?
I wish I knew.
Yeah. I think that's everybody right now. I mean, there was this, apparently he had a bullpen session, and the entire team came out and watched it. Would you believe that? Like, usually, from what I've heard, for those kinds of things in the middle of the season where it's a pitcher who's trying to figure something out, you'll have the pitching coach, the manager, maybe both catchers out there, see if they notice something, maybe even a couple extra pitchers, just see what they can see. Not the entire roster. So what does this say? Does this say, they're really stumped and like, the more eyes the better because we have no idea what we're looking for here? Or does it say like we just need to show that everyone is behind Chris Sale and we still fully supporting him even though he's struggling? Like what's the message being sent by having your entire team watch a midweek bullpen session in the middle of July? It's weird.
Maybe it's just show of support.
But why does a guy like Chris Sale need support? It feels like he's always on top of things when it comes to the mental game a little bit, He's in the locker room always taking the blame and taking the heat and saying, like, yep, I'll be better. He's the one, he's saying all the right things for the way he's pitching. It feels like he's in a fine mental place. It's just the on-field product that's struggling. Maybe there's a little bit more there than we can see, a little bit behind the curtain, kind of. No?
I mean, you just gotta wonder, like, you mentioned if it's like an injury behind the curtain, maybe the shoulder's been bothering him. I doubt it. It's just, it's hard to come up with an explanation because at first in the beginning of the season, you're like, all right, there's no run support at all. But now, when he does get the run support, it's still not going that well for him. So
Right. And that's the scary thing. It's just he cannot get out of his own way. And this is the pitcher that you have signed up for 4 years and 200 million or whatever it is. So you have a lot invested in this guy, and he's been able to do it before. You just hope he can get back to the way that he was. Someone made the comparison. Oh, what was it? Oh, it was Sale to Tim Lincecum. where he was really good in his early days of his career, and then his kind of herky-jerky wind-up got the best of him, and he fell off a cliff a little bit. I hope this doesn't happen to Chris Sale, because Tim Lincecum is a nobody at this point.
Yeah, I don't think Chris Sale's fallen off a cliff.
All right. Well, we'll hope not.
I think it's just a combination of a lot of things going wrong.
Yeah. So we'll hope he can turn things around today in his start this afternoon against Toronto, because the next time he pitches, it'll be against Tampa Bay in a crucial series next week. So if he can get a good start, limit the runs, get some good offense behind him, get the strikeout numbers up, it feels like he'll be able to, get into that big stretch of games that they're really going to need him for with a little bit of mojo. But today is a huge start against a team that he struggled with, like everybody has, it feels like, in Toronto, who really put up a fight in this past series. They're playing 4 games, and so far the Sox have 2 wins, including a grind-out win last night, in which Eduardo Rodriguez got another win. Feels like he's been your best pitcher all year, and Brandon Workman came on for a 50-pitch save. It was a nervy one, but I want to rewind a little bit further to the end of that LA series if we can, with one of the uglier losses I feel like I've seen from this Red Sox team. So let's paint the picture here a little bit, right? You're losing to the Dodgers in the 8th inning, and then Xander Bogaerts hits a home run. Next batter, JD Martinez hits a home run. Boom, back-to-back, 2 of your best hitters, getting you right back in the game. So you tie it up. 9th inning, runner in scoring position, you can't win it. 10th inning, runner in scoring position, or at least on base, I think it was. He was on first. Can't win it. 11th inning, and this is the big one, Patrick. Let me put you in a situation. You might already know the answer to this. You have Jackie Bradley Jr. on second base, leadoff double, no outs. Marco Hernandez, your number 9 hitter, comes up to the plate. You have Mookie Betts, Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts up after Hernandez. What do you do?
How many outs?
None.
Smart answer says bunt.
What was that? You blurred out a little bit.
Smart answer says bunt.
Yes, the only answer says bunt. You bunt. I don't care if Marco Hernandez tied one up against the Blue Jays in, 3 weeks ago in the 9th inning. I don't care if he hit a walk-off infield single a month ago. You bunt. Even if that's Mookie Betts, I'd say bunt. Just do the smart baseball thing and bunt him to third so that you can have your top of the lineup get a crack at driving him in from 90 feet away. That's all you have to do. And guess what? They don't bunt him. He swings away. He can't get around on it. Hits it to the shortstop. Jackie Bradley Jr. runs directly into the out at third base. Next thing you know, you got 1 out and a runner on first rather than 1 out and a runner on third. You're trading 2 bases there for no reason. And guess what? Very next batter, Mookie Betts hits a perfect sacrifice fly ball. And that would have been the game if he had a runner on third. But it was not, because of dumb baseball letting your 40th man on the 40-man roster swing away. What are you doing? Yeah. So at that point, I turned the TV off. I gave up. It was midnight because these games last forever. And sure enough, next inning, Hector Velasquez, who's now been optioned back to Pawtucket, blows it, 3 runs. Gets the 7-4 lead for the Dodgers. And who comes on to save it in the bottom of the 12th, close the door on the Red Sox, win the series for the Dodgers? Joe Kelly.
Yep.
That's just painful. All around, just a painful loss for the Sox. But to their credit, came right back the next night, beat Toronto 10-8 in a bit of a shootout there. Rick Porcello somehow getting the win there. You lose the next night 10-4, and that was Andrew Cashner's debut. So let's get on to Cashner here, Patrick. Cashner brought in from the Baltimore Orioles, who are apparently retaining some of his contract, which is a pretty nice steal for the Red Sox. Gave up 2 no-name prospects in return. How do you feel about Andrew Cashner? Well, let's do a little bit of a condition here. Before this last start, how did you feel about the Cashner signing?
First reaction was, who was that?
Yes. He was a former first-round pick.
Okay.
Yeah. He's been good at times.
At times.
At times.
I don't know. It seems like Dombrowski just trying to throw water on the grease fire, or trying to put a Band-Aid on, a big gash.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to do much. And evidently didn't in one start.
So, I think in terms of, for me, I think you just needed a 5th starter, and that's very little to ask for, I feel like. I think fifth starter should be very easy to find, especially considering what they had going before he came in. Because, before then you had Ryan Weber throwing 4 innings and then it became a bullpen game, So at least having a guy who has started and was an opening day starter, albeit for the Orioles this year, I feel like that's an improvement in that he can give you at least, 5 to 7 innings probably, and at least take some weight off your bullpen, because we know that you need to do that the way things are going this year. So in that, it felt like an upgrade. But of course, the way that he pitched on Tuesday, you get a little concerned, because he gave up a 3-run home run that was really the biggest damage in his 5 innings of work. But then right when the Red Sox tie it up 5-5, gives up another one. Might have been tied 4-4. I don't know. They tied it up, gives up another home run just in smoke on a terrible hanging curveball. And it's like, all right, buddy, have we really improved here? So I'm not totally, out on Cashner yet. I don't think you can determine everything in one start. I think, you look at it, and if you just had a couple pitches back, I think it's a very completely different outing. But that said, it was not too encouraging to see him go out there and get thrown around by the Toronto Blue Jays. So.
Yeah, not encouraging at all, and makes you think he goes from playing meaningless games to the Orioles to playing meaningful games with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
If he was ready for it.
Well, yeah, so the concern was he, pitching his socks off, pun intended, down in Baltimore, just trying to get out of there. Like, he wants to say, just please trade me. I just want to get the heck out of this, just terrible team. And now he's in the Red Sox. He's like, okay, this is a team that has a push, and I'm going to put my feet up and enjoy the run here. I don't know. Or does it go the other way where he's now more motivated? I don't know. Can he handle the pressure of Fenway after being in a half-empty Camden Yards all season? Like, there are a lot of variables there.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. I think his next start will come against Baltimore, ironically, down in Baltimore on Sunday. And that's the game right before you start this big stretch against Tampa Bay in New York. So let's get into that, Patrick. There's a huge stretch coming up for the Red Sox that's going to begin on Monday with a series at Tampa Bay for 3 games, followed by coming home, playing the Yankees for 4 games over the weekend. Then the next week you take on Tampa Bay at home to close out that little homestand before heading down to New York to once again face the Yankees the first series of August. So that's 14 games in a row, because that is a 4-game series to end it. 14 games against the 2 teams that are ahead of you in the AL East. This is kind of the stretch that you circled from the very beginning, but the way things are going right now feels like these are more important than ever. It's a big stretch.
That's the season right there.
Definitely.
I mean, even forget the second 2 series, the first 2 series, those first 7 games, that's the season.
Yeah. I mean, so I don't know the exact numbers on the standings. I haven't checked them yet this morning as we are recording at 9 a.m. on the podcast grind. But last I checked, the Sox were 10 games back of New York and 6 back of Tampa Bay. I know the Yankees and Rays have played each other within this last week. So, maybe they've done some damage against each other, have slowed down, each other a little bit. But Sox are not really there. It kind of feels like a one-horse race with the Yankees, and then Tampa Bay just kind of nibbling a little bit. And maybe if they get hot, they can make it interesting. But Sox really are not there, and they're still out of a wild card spot even. So not only are these big games against your division rivals trying to get back in the division race, these are games that you need to win purely to stay in the wild card race.
Exactly.
It's scary. And you could even say, like, if you're writing the division off right now, you're saying, all right, the Yankees can have the division. We'll just go for the wild card. All of a sudden, these midweek series against Tampa Bay become more important than those weekend series against New York. So it'll be interesting to see. My heart says that the Sox will turn it on when they need to, and the bats have been fine. It's just the pitching, and maybe some of your big pitchers, once they're in the big moment, they'll be able to shine. I don't know. But my head says that this could be another underwhelming set of games. You could go about, 500, maybe worse, and, make no progress. That's the concern.
That's what it feels like will happen right now.
Yeah. So you got to be a little bit worried in terms of, if they're actually going to get out of this in better shape than they went into it with. Because let's say you lose 10 of these 14 games, you could be way out of the wild card race. Not way out, but you could have really dug yourself a hole. So this is going to be huge, and it'll be interesting to see. Does this team have the cojones, as they say, to pull it all together and to say, all right, let's go get these games. These are the ones we need to jumpstart our season. Let's win these and see what happens. Or do they just duck into their shell and just continue to play bad or at least mediocre baseball and find themselves further and further into the pit of mediocrity? I don't know.
You wonder if mediocrity is the best this team has to give.
Whoa. That's disappointing. That is Boston sports mediocrity. Let's keep that in mind. Like on the edge of the playoff picture is Boston sports mediocrity right now. But it's true, especially with the expectations for this team. So you really can't understate the importance of these next 14 games. And of course, making matters no easier is some off-the-field drama, once again sparked by David Price.
But this time it's sparked by Eckersley.
You think it's sparked by Eckersley?
This time it is.
No. Okay, so let's just do a little recap here for the people at home. So 2 years ago, 2 years, 1 year, whatever. Dennis Eckersley, David Price get into a little, kerfuffle on the airplane going from one game to another, and there was a little bit of a feud between the two. I don't know exactly what it was about, but David Price, Dennis Eckersley, not happy with each other, and it felt like they put it behind them. And of course, the Sox win the World Series, and Price says, "I hold the trump card now," or whatever it was. He felt like he had all the power at that point. So at that point, you think like, okay, what does he care about some Red Sox broadcaster who pitched 20 years ago, 30 years ago? But all of a sudden, here it is again. And so there's apparently an Eckersley documentary, right, where there's an article I think about him where he said, I don't really care much about the David Price stuff. I don't plan on talking to him. He doesn't plan on talking to me. I probably won't see him. It doesn't really matter. And Price takes that as, oh, he's bringing this back up. He's trying to get it started again. And so Price goes after him on Twitter. But you think this is Eckersley's fault?
I think it is.
Why?
Because apparently, the two had a meeting set up and Eck didn't show up. So that's just Eckersley playing the video.
Allegedly. And I wouldn't put it beyond David Price to kind of make that up, maybe dramatize it a little bit. If he thought like, oh, Eckersley was going to roll into the locker room this morning and, oh, he didn't. He was a little bit late or something. I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of overstated it. But yeah, if that's true, then it is on Eck. But it just feels like with Eck saying like, oh, I won't talk to him, he won't talk to me, but it's cool, whatever. That feels like just a bit of a no comment kind of thing, where he's like, I don't need to talk about it, I don't need to start anything up. We'll just go our separate ways. Who cares? I don't think he's trying to start anything with those comments, and I think it's Price who, amid the frustration of this season, is just looking for an outlet.
I don't know, man. I think it's just a lot of just bad blood boiling over. Because Price himself said they had the meeting and he backed out the day of.
Interesting. Well, it's the last thing the Red Sox need right now. You do not need an off-the-field distraction coming in.
But it's kind of convenient that this is in the middle of a pretty bad Red Sox season.
When it rains, it pours, Patrick.
No. I'm saying like how convenient it is, because it's convenient that whenever the Patriots do well, there's a Patriots hit piece in the Boston Globe. And we know who owns the Boston Globe.
Interesting. So why would they want this to come out?
Draw attention from how bad the team's playing.
Oh, draw attention away?
I guess so.
So it's bad off the field and on the field?
Or create a storyline around the team, and that way more people pay attention.
I don't know about that. I mean, Nesson is also owned by the same group, right? So why would the ownership there want a feud between a player and a member of their broadcast team if it's all under the same umbrella? I don't know. They set it all up. They brought him into a room, and they were like, "You guys are gonna be mad at each other. We're gonna get publicity. It's gonna be great." I don't know. That's a little crazy. Interesting though. All right, our last piece of Red Sox news, I think for today. One of the problems here with having a struggling season is that they're always going to be scapegoats, and the current one, Eduardo Nunez, who was designated for assignment earlier this week, the I believe 2-year Red Sox utility man is gone. Where? Who knows? But Eduardo Nunez, noontime. See you later. Sad.
It's sad.
Yeah.
It's like losing Yabu.
It is. It is, actually. Wow. That's pretty good. Because he's not a guy that had a huge impact, but he was just like a good guy to be around the team.
Lovable.
And he did his little things when he needed them.
He was lovable.
Yabu didn't do the little things when you need him, really. But Nunez, he was the leadoff guy in your 2017 playoff run, where he was like coming back from knee injuries and he'd be like stumbling to first base, but he was still putting it all on the line. Had a pretty good end of the season there. I think he traded for him middle of 2017.
Yep.
And then last year, of course, big World Series home run. Just a consistent guy all throughout the year. Even this season, he's had some big pinch hitting appearances, but obviously numbers haven't been there. Fielding has never been incredible. It always looks like he's kind of just rolling around and trying to figure out what he's doing on the baseball field. But yeah, too bad. He's always been a guy that I've liked. I remember when they first brought him in, I was like, oh wow, that's a recognizable game. That's a recognizable name and a guy that I have always liked as a player coming to the Red Sox. I was like, okay, cool. But some things just wear out a little bit over time, and it seemed like it was the right time for him to move on from the Red Sox. So it opens up a roster spot. I think right now Sam Travis has it. It'll probably be Mitch Moreland very, very soon. So that's the way things are. Speaking of Moreland, he should be coming back soon. Apparently he was running over at Fenway. I did see him there. And he was also doing some minor league games down in Pawtucket. So he seems like he's close to returning. Would have been nice to get him back before this big stretch of games, especially as a lefty bat against some teams with some really strong right-handers, like Tanaka or Blake Snell, guys like that. I believe they're both righties. I hope. Otherwise, I'm looking pretty stupid. Is what it is. Michael Chavis still doing the job at first base. And then Nate Eovaldi apparently ready to go, although he's going to have to jump into an unfamiliar role in the bullpen against some of the best teams in the league if he comes in during this 14-game stretch, as it seems like he will. And that's a little scary if you're trying to throw him into a high-leverage situation, his first time pitching since April. I don't know. Feels like a lot that could go wrong, but you know what? This is why they play the game. This is why we're fans, because you wait to see how these things are going to go. Correct. Anything to add on the Sox before I move along?
I have some bad news for you.
Oh, great.
Blake Snell's a lefty.
Alrighty. Well, 1 for 2, right?
Yep.
Okay. Anyway, it still would have been nice to have Moreland. But whatever. Moving along, your Boston Celtics have concluded their summer league play. They entered the tournament as the number 1 seed, but were knocked off by the number 8 seed Memphis Grizzlies. Taco Fall only got 6 minutes. It was a sad, sad day all around. Absolutely butchered the end of it because they did make it interesting. They had a vintage Celtics fourth quarter run to get it back and make it an interesting game. And then the last minute and a half, they were throwing it all over the place and giving up, just stupid turnovers. So that was it. A very abrupt ending to an otherwise very impressive summer league. Any comments, Patrick, on the summer league and what you saw from it?
Nothing that other than that. I want Taco Fall to be a Celtic at some point.
Well, so have you swayed at all from thinking that he should go to Maine?
I'll wait and see in training camp because that sounds like when they're gonna make their decision.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't swayed at all. I still think you get him up there with the big team. You see what he can do. If it's a total failure, then you send him down. But I would at least let him start in Boston. But we've already been over this, so we won't do that anymore. some progress yesterday. Not really progress, kind of just media stuff. But Enes Kanter and Kemba Walker were officially announced as Celtics. They were given their jerseys. Walker's going to wear the number 8. Kanter's the number 11. When asked about wearing the number 11, why he chose it, he said, "I want to be the reason that no one else wears it." I couldn't tell if that was a shot at Kyrie or just a cliche answer.
It was a shot at Kyrie.
Was it?
He paused. He says, "I want to be the reason no one else was or wears it. No one else will." Pauses and then goes, "I had to say it."
Well, so I'm wondering if he said I had to say it because that's what everybody says. They're like, "Oh, I want to put this number in the rafters." Ha, That's just
not everyone says that.
No?
Kyrie Irving saying that is the last person I remember saying.
Oh, he did say it?
Kyrie Irving said that in a commercial with his dad.
He did? Okay. So that changes everything.
He announces to the world that he plans on re-signing this if we'll have him. And then there's a commercial with him and his dad. And he says his dad is the reason he wears 11. He wants to be the reason no one else will.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense. So if he said that as a member of the Celtics, it is pretty funny that Kanter's saying that, becoming a member of the Celtics.
Yes.
I like this Kanter guy.
You don't?
I do. I like him a lot.
Same.
Cantor Banter. That's what I came up with.
Is that going to be today's episode title?
No, he's not that important. If he puts up a triple-double or something in a playoff game, then it will be.
Well, we have one in the bank now.
We do have one in the bank. We'll keep that around. But yeah, I just like it. Just a little bit of swagger. And you match that with Kemba Walker, who's otherwise a pretty soft-spoken guy. I feel like that's a good little combination. Although we said that with Kyrie Irving and Al Horford, and see how that.
Kanter isn't outspoken
toxic
the way Kyrie is.
Right.
Kanter's more little like antics, and then when it comes to serious things like the situation in his home country of Turkey, like he'll be outspoken about that and his antics like being funny. But other than that, I don't think it's anywhere near the type of outspoken Kyrie Irving is, where he'll get mad in the media or he'll call someone out, etc.
Right. Yeah, throw guys under the bus and all that. Nothing else really with the Celtics. Tremont Waters' father was found dead, which is unfortunate. You hope that doesn't impact the rookie too much, because he did have a very solid summer league. But obviously, anytime he needs to take away from the team is definitely necessary, and this is a good time to do it before training camp starts. But yeah, that's a little sad there. Thoughts are with them, of course. But nothing else really with the Celtics as we enter this little bit of a gap between summer league and training camp. So with that, we'll move along to your Boston Bruins, for which not much has happened. We're feeling the offseason here. We definitely are.
Yeah, we've moved into the quiet times of the NBA and the NHL.
Yeah, when you start focusing on like tennis and golf and smaller sports. But yeah, I watched Cornhole on ESPN a couple days ago.
Yeah, they have that like every Wednesday night or something like that.
It was incredible. Anyway,
it's actually pretty interesting to watch. Like you see, like maybe you have like a cousin or an uncle who's just nasty at cornhole, but then you see these guys just canning every single one, and you're like, holy cow.
See, but that's like bowling. Like, at what point is it just boring because they do the same thing every time? Like, if you can just bowl a strike on command, or if you can just put it in the hole every time in cornhole, where's the fun in that?
Well, you see, like in pro bowling, you see like the spin and like the twists and turns they can put on it, which is kind of insane.
But once you know how to throw a strike, why wouldn't you throw it that way every single time?
Twist it up, shake it up.
Yeah? When there's so much money on the line? I don't know.
know. And like with the cornhole, like maybe these guys are throwing moonshots that just like go 100 feet. Well, not 100 feet. No one can do that. Like go insanely high and just can it. Or like if they're doing cancellation, there's like someone cans it, and then like the next two guys can it, and it's like you're canceling out. It's like fighting tooth and nail.
Right. So they were doing that, and it was interesting because it came down to like one shot where they had to like someone had a bag that was like right over the hole where if you just hit it at all, it would have fallen in. So they were like, "Oh, and she's got to really loft this one up and over," and so she threw it straight up in the air and tried to come in backside of the hole and completely missed the front one, but it went long.
Dang.
Crazy, right? Wow. This is what it's come down to here in the the summer shows. We're debating about bowling and cornhole. Wow. Anyway, Patrick, I'll hand it over to you for Bruin stuff. Any thoughts you may have, uh, please do so because I got nothing.
Okay, well, last week we went over Danton Heinen signing and Peter Solaric signing, and since then, there's nothing much in news. Bruins still have about 8.1 in cap space. Probably not going to be enough for your two RFAs, Brandon Carlo and Charlie McAvoy, unless you do them on bridge deals. And if you're going to do one of them on a bridge deal, I'd rather see you do Carlo. But either way, it probably doesn't work out. Bridge deal is the last case scenario. That's all right. We're not going to go to December 1st. You guys, we need you here. Let's get a deal done.
Yeah.
But and we talk about opening cap space, whether that's you trade either John Moore, Kevin Miller, or the big fish in the room, David Backes. Your hope's kind of dwindling on that front here because there are less teams that would probably be willing to take on a cap hit like Backes's. Ottawa's probably out of the question now because they took Artem Ismailov's contract from the Blackhawks and someone else too, I believe. Not totally sure. So it looks like Don Sweeney's going to have to just keep pulling some strings and hoping for the best.
So whatever happened to getting rid of Troy Krug like you've been predicting all along?
Well, I don't feel like. Well, see, Sweeney has outwardly said that they plan on keeping him unless someone blows them away with an offer. So I don't see. Obviously, as of yet, no one has blown them away with an offer.
Yeah. So my thought there, and it's probably along similar lines as my steaming Mookie Betts take a couple weeks ago, where I said trade him while you can because things are really going bad at the time. They still might be. We'll see how things are in 14 days or whatever. It's going to be 20 days by the time that whole stretch is done. But I feel like Torrey Krug's value is as high as it's going to be. He was a bright spot on the power play unit in the Stanley Cup or in the entire playoffs, really. He obviously made noise in the Stanley Cup with his physicality. I feel like he really has boosted his value so much. Maybe this is the time to part ways, where you can really bring in a haul for him before his value either goes down, maybe picks up an injury, or even worse if he just ends up walking by the time that contract's over.
But I mean, so I think he's said that he wants to stay here too. But the only way that happens is if he takes a massive hometown discount.
Yeah. Hockey players sometimes do that though, more than any other sport.
And it's interesting though because you talk about getting a haul, and what we've talked about and what the return would be for Torrey Krug, we've said that second line winger. And okay, you get that second line winger, then you pretty much just traded that cap space for more cap for the other cap space you're using up for that second line center or winger, and it kind of just cancels things out. Yeah. Unless you want to go the route of you get just a bunch of picks and prospects.
Yeah. And whatever happened to this logjam at defense? Why can't we trade Lozon or something?
We've seen Sweeney extremely stubborn to part ways with prospects before.
Why?
Don't know.
There's so many.
I think of anyone, Zaboral or Lozon should be the first to go. I'm really high on Jeremy Lozon, but I think Urho Vaakanainen is going to be the better player. And I think Jacob Zaboral is the odd man out. So I think you try him first. If not, I think you have to cave on Lozon.
I don't know.
But for whatever reason, we know Donnie just isn't keen on moving those prospects.
Yeah. It's crazy. We see two very different approaches between those two TD Garden users or whatever, TD Garden teams. Oh, we do have a little bit of news on the TD Garden too. But Danny Ainge, really quick to part ways with guys. You had a good team, championship caliber for sure this year. And, sure enough, well, I guess it wasn't totally his decision because it kind of fell apart with Kyrie leaving, Horford leaving, whatever. Maybe you look a year before that or two where, they blew up the team with IT and Jay Crowder and Avery Bradley. That whole team absolutely gone because they reached their ceiling and getting to the Eastern Conference Finals and getting dominated by LeBron. So he tried to restart. He's content, moving things around. He's happy to keep changing until they find the winning formula. Whereas you look at Don Sweeney, feels like even though they did end up coming short this year, barely, it feels like he's content, just letting things play out. He's in love with the team that he has, and he feels like these are his guys. He doesn't want to change anything. I don't know which approach is better, but it's just interesting how different they are.
Yeah. It's certainly interesting to note, but while I'm thinking about it,
okay,
a team that could be a suitor for David Backes' deal, the New Jersey Devils.
What?
So they don't need to get under the cap floor, I believe.
Wait, are they on his list?
Probably not.
Yeah, okay.
But
continue.
You never know.
Hypothetically, continue.
Don't know who's on his list. And
maybe they've added him to the list, or he's added them to the list.
Maybe, because they're on the upswing here. They just got Jack Hughes. They got PK Subban.
But why would they want David Backes then?
Because they have $18 million in cap space right now.
Just picture your first line. Hall on the left. Hughes in the middle. Backes on the right.
No. If anything,
oh my God,
he'll just fall into the role the Bruins used him, and you can sell him on more protection for Jack Hughes. Because Jack Hughes, I don't know if you've seen his sheet. He's a small little boy.
Yeah.
He's 5'10", 170.
He's going to get bullied. It's true.
Well, he'll get bullied if they can catch up to him.
They will. They'll jam him in the corners. Yeah.
They'll catch up to him?
Yes.
But I'm just looking at it right now. They still have 3 RFAs to sign: Pavel Zacha, Will Butcher, and Mirko Mueller. And I don't imagine them taking up that entire $18 million. I say combined, you'll probably end up around the $8-10 million range. You take on Backes' deal, and with Backes' deal, you'd probably get a decent return of picks and prospects from the Bruins. It makes sense for New Jersey, I think, because if they're on this this rebuild train, and they kind of accelerated it with the Subban trade and the drafting of Hughes. Right. They already have Nico Hischier on top of Taylor Hall, and they have about a year to convince Taylor Hall to stay here. A little under a year, because he's a UFA this summer. And say it's not necessarily bringing in Backes, but you bring in those the 1 or 2 high picks from the Bruins and a decent prospect, and you're like, all right, look, we're set up for success long term here.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like they're on such an upswing. Why would they want to bring in a bad contract and an old player? But that said, any way you can move David Backes in that contract, I will take it. Last season I was as big a Backes guy as any. I thought he did have a spot in that team. I thought he did make an influence when he was in there. But that said, if it's between David Backes for 2 more years and ensuring that you can have Carlo and McAvoy on long-term deals, I will take the latter every day of the week. So while I don't really want to part with the player in Backes, I definitely want to part with the contract. So it is what it is. But yeah, we still find ourselves in a little bit of a standstill in terms of any movement, because it feels like they've kind of jammed themselves in a corner with the budget that they have left for these 2 relatively young and promising players. So we'll have to keep an eye on how that ends up. Hopefully, Don Sweeney maybe gets a little aggressive here, tries to make something happen, because it feels like it's not going to just happen itself. Anyway, anything else to add on the Bruins before we move along?
Nothing.
No. TD Garden, Patrick. Did you see the pictures?
Yep. Rip the gold seats. R.I.P.
The gold seats. I think it makes sense because the Celtics are as big a team as the Bruins, really. So you can't really have the gold seats for the Celtics. I never thought it made sense, but it's just sad because that was unique, you know? It was a little bit of a character thing.
Yeah,
And
your biggest thing with arenas is character.
I like
You're not
character.
cookie cutter, and you're saying how you hate Agganis Arena because it's cookie cutter.
I don't hate it, but it's a little
You
boring.
have a big problem with it.
Boring. That's all.
Um, and I think it just takes away from the character of TD Garden.
Yes, it does. Um, although, did you see the seats? They're
But
like real squishy. They're real squishy seats. All of them.
well, we went up and sat in them because they had some sections in the balcony
Squishy.
already done during the playoffs. They weren't that great.
No?
I guess the ones in the balcony are supposed to be like really tight together too.
Uh-oh. How do you know?
Just from like Twitter. I think Ty Anderson said it.
Uh-oh. That would be real unfortunate. If they tried to maximize capacity with this. What if this was a capacity move? Ooh.
I don't think so.
No.
No.
Interesting. Anyway, just kind of sad to see the gold seats go, but such is the transformation. I have the British Open going on in the corner here, and Adam Scott just hit a bunker shot that went right back to where he was standing. Oh boy, Adam. We'll get to that in a minute. New England Patriots news. There isn't a ton, believe it or not. We are still here. Not a ton going on. Landon Roberts filed for a police harassment inquiry because he had a police officer stop him that he thought was bias-based. Oh boy, Landon. Braxton Berrios has apparently been impressing. You remember Braxton Berrios?
Briefly.
Yeah. Sixth rounder last year. Spent the entire year on injured reserve, but looked good early on before he got hurt. I'm interested. I think he could be your next Julian Edelman protege. Welker, Edelman, Braxton Berrios, just because he's short and white. I don't know. But he's, quick little guy, likes to return punts. So I see some similarities there, and he seems like he definitely has the work ethic. And then on the Gronk front, Max Kellerman, for what it's worth, thinks that if Tom Brady asks Gronk to come back, Gronk will. Which makes zero sense to me because I feel like Tom would have already asked and Gronk would have already said no. So why are we considering this? Isn't it a foregone conclusion that Tom wants Gronk there if he can have him there?
I think so.
So why do we think that if Tom all of a sudden says, you know what, I would like to have Gronk on this team, I'm pretty sure he would have already said that. Regardless, that's the Patriots front. Anything to add, Patrick?
Nothing except Richard Seymour finished in 131st place in the World Series of Poker's main event.
Oh, wow. Where'd you see that?
ESPN.
That's incredible. Okay, wow. Anyway.
Exactly a week ago.
Yeah. Well, sticking along the theme of teams that share arenas, I would like to have a little bit of a revolution minute, Patrick.
Okay.
Because, as I have said, I am all aboard the revolution train. I am all aboard. It's left the station. I don't know if you got on it or not, but this train has left the station. They are 9 games unbeaten. They have a brand new head coach and soccer director in Bruce Arena who knows everything that needs to be known about the MLS. And obviously they're proving it because every single game he's able to figure it out and they're able to get wins, right off the bat with a good strategy, or they're able to adjust mid-game and grab it in the end. It just feels like they're winning every time, or at least getting points every time. They got a solid draw against DC United last week when Wayne Rooney was doing everything he can to prevent that because DC United one of the best teams in the league. So, and you had a red card there too, about 2/3 through the game. So you kind of held on there, but did what you had to do. And then last night put an absolute stomping on the lowly Vancouver Whitecaps, 4-0, including 3 goals in the span of about 10 minutes to close out the game. In one of the most encouraging transactions, I guess, that we've ever seen in Revolution history, Patrick, happened earlier this week. Gustavo Bo. Do you know this guy? I know the answer to that. You don't.
I no idea who this guy is.
All right. Well, let me just read this off for you. He's from Argentina. Okay. He is 29 years old. He's wearing number 7 for the Revs. He spent 6 years playing for River Plate down in Argentina, and he was most recently with Racing Club on loan from Tijuana in Mexico. So he spent a lot of time around, South America, Central America in his career. But this is a guy with very good numbers over the course of his career. He put up 45 goals between 2014 and 2017 when playing with Racing Club. And he had 20 goals in 49 appearances with Tijuana most recently.
How does this translate to the MLS?
It's a guy that has experience and knows what it takes, and a proven goal scorer, which they have severely lacked for years, it feels like. Ever since, Taylor Twellman left in 2010, I don't know if you've really had a top striker like this guy. There are names you wouldn't know, but like Kai Kamara was a big MLS name. He did nothing here. So now this Gustavo Bo guy comes in. He's probably your biggest name player since Jermaine Jones. You remember him? He was a national team player, played like center defensive mid. Was really solid the year that they went to the MLS Cup, although they lost it. So I really like this guy, and he made an impact immediately last night in that win over Vancouver. He came right in. He was running the show, linking up, left side to right side, playing in that middle role, kind of spreading the ball around. And then you get a corner kick, and rather than playing it to the middle looking for a header, they play it out to the box, and he comes steaming right into it, into the right corner to give him the 1-0 lead and a debut goal. I just really like this guy. I think he's going to be a great fit. He's got some size too, which is always helpful in the MLS. So this is just, yeah, this is just another piece of the puzzle. You get your good head coach and a guy that knows how to do it. You get a good striker now, and a guy that has scored, at solid levels. Adam Scott just fell down in the bunker. Adam, what are you doing?
Poor guy.
I just really like where the Revs are going, and all of a sudden they find themselves in a playoff spot. At least at the time being, they do have one extra match played. So, than the team below them, I believe, Orlando. So, they're probably going to end up back in 9th very soon. But they are definitely on the right trajectory. It is a fun time to be a Revs fan, and it's good to be back into it. It's been a while for me because they have been putrid for a long time. Or a long time being like 4 years, but considering where they started the season and where they are now, feels like leaps and bounds. Any Revs follow up there, Patrick, or you ready to get on to the? Yeah. All right, I'll let you take it over here and talk about the British Open a little bit as we kind of find our way into national news.
All right. Well, the two guys I'd keep an eye on this week are Rory McIlroy and Brooks Koepka.
Do you know what's happened to Rory, by the way?
Oh, he started off with a nice 8.
Yeah, he was obviously the Ireland guy, or Northern Ireland guy, right? Playing in Northern Ireland. He's got the home field advantage. The very first tee shot with everybody screaming his name behind him. Hooks it wide left out of bounds. That was pretty funny.
All right.
Anyway,
well, I didn't see
he's already like +4 on the day, by the way. Continue.
He's 5 over. It's 5 over now.
5 over. Rory.
Well, I didn't see that. I'm going to pretend I didn't see that. Or I just saw it now, so I'm going to pretend I didn't see it. But the storyline for Rory was that, Northern Ireland kid. First time Northern Ireland's had the Open in about 50 years or so.
80.
Maybe a little more. 80?
Well, actually, last time it was at Royal Port Rush was 86 years. So
I think it's the last time Northern Ireland had it since the 60s.
Yeah, Rory wasn't there then.
I'm aware. But Royal Port Rush is considered one of Rory's home courses, if not the home course for him. And he did break the course record when he was 16.
Really?
I think he shot 61. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but on that number at least. But I do know he did break the course record at 16. I might just be flipping 16 and 61. But for Brooks Koepka, you may be saying, "Oh, it's obvious he's won like pretty much every major except the Masters the last 2 years. He's finished. When he hasn't won them, he hasn't finished terribly either. He's been right there." But people don't know Brooks Koepka's caddy grew up less than a mile from Royal Port Rush. And
Crazy.
Brooks Koepka's caddy is a member at Royal Port Rush.
Crazy.
And Brooks Koepka coming in here with swagger on top of swagger, saying how he doesn't practice for anything other than majors.
Okay, Tiger doesn't play in anything other than majors.
Well, you see, Brooks Koepka straight up said, "When you see me on TV, that's when I'm playing golf."
What a guy.
Straight up saying he only cares about the majors, which honestly, I love it. 6 PGA Tour wins, 4 of which are majors.
He's a robot.
I love the swagger from this guy.
He's a robot.
For a while, we're saying, like, last year, we're like, this guy's a robot, and now he had his licks. He's in the mix now, and now he has his own voice.
I don't like him.
You don't like him?
Well, I kind of do. I can't decide. I can't make up my mind on this guy. I like the swagger, but I hate it. I don't know.
I love it.
But there was some drama between Brooks and Tiger. Did you see that?
Yeah, it wasn't much drama at all. Tiger, it's a little gamesmanship. It's Brooks not giving the field an advantage. I mean, I'm sure we see it a lot, actually. But, I mean, so Tiger obviously knows about Brooks's caddy and texts Brooks, schmooze at first, like, hey, congrats on all the success and stuff. You've been playing really well. And it was like, mind if I tag along for a practice round or two? Nothing.
And that's where I don't like it. Like, Brooks Koepka, are you bigger than Tiger Woods? No.
Right now, yes.
No.
Performance-wise.
This is the greatest golfer, one of the greatest golfers of all time. And you don't even give him a text back? You leave him on open? I mean, I don't like it, Brooks. And I get it. Tiger's trying to get the advantage because Tiger can use wants to use anything he possibly can because he's already fighting an uphill battle with the way his back is, especially in cold conditions, but we'll get to that in a second. Koepka obviously doesn't want to play his hand here, but how much would Tiger really learn from just playing around with Koepka?
Well, he's Tiger Woods.
Okay.
I think that's enough for Brooks to run scared and not respond.
And he can't, like, Tiger can't just watch, like, Koepka's Thursday round here and then get all the same information. It's not like Koepka's caddy wasn't going to be saying to Tiger, like, oh, yeah, big bunker on the left, make sure you stay right here, or whatever, Like, Koepka's caddy wasn't going to be advising Tiger. I don't see why it was such a big deal.
No, but so you see Tiger can always, ask the guy questions because that's what they do.
Then don't answer him.
That's just straight up rude.
When the GOAT asks you to play, you play.
Do you?
Yes.
But you're telling me what does Tiger not get from just watching Brooks's practice round? And they're different players because Brooks hits it insanely far, and we've seen Tiger dial back his swing speed to not hit it insanely far and actually keep it in play.
So even that would make you think, why do they care about Tiger playing with Brooks? Their play styles are so different. What would Tiger learn from Brooks if Brooks is 30 yards ahead of him the whole time?
Who knows, man? Caddy just knows the little ins and outs and idiosyncrasies of the course.
I think it's a little petty from Brooks, but whatever. Looking at Tiger, how do you feel?
Move.
What was that?
I think it's a power move.
Sure it is, but I don't like it. Tiger's teeing off right now. Great timing. I believe he's hitting an iron off the tee.
It's 3:10 local time there. About 10 here.
So Tiger going Gary Woodland +2 on the day. On the 17th, I believe. Oh no, Gary.
+2?
Yeah.
And he's still in the mix.
Yeah, it seems like the course is playing pretty tough. Isn't it usually tougher in the British Open?
Yeah. Not as tough as the U.S. usually, but I mean, we've seen leader at is that Sam Lowry? Shane Lowry. Shane Lowry.
Did I tell you that story ever?
No.
At the PGA Championship, my dad and I went, right? So Shane Lowry's there, obviously. And he was completely out of it by Saturday when we were there. Like, Shane Lowry had no chance. But there were these Irish dudes there. They've got the face paint on. They've got the Irish, like, soccer jersey. They're carrying around an Ireland flag. And they're singing Christmas carols with Shane Lowry's name. Walking in the Lowry Wonderland. They were doing that. It was awesome. So that's my Shane Lowry story.
That's crazy.
They're now ready. Love him. He's leading in Ireland. Great, Shane.
Eh,
No.
I mean, he's Irish. This is in Northern Ireland.
Close enough. The Isles.
I mean, given the history.
Tiger is rocking the light blue hat and collared shirt with the white vest today, I must say.
Wow, white vest, huh?
Yeah, power moves. Love it. Anyway, let's get the Tiger here, Patrick. As he tees off, I will keep you updated. Don't worry. But I just want to get your thoughts. Does he have a chance this week?
I think so.
Oh, my God.
I think he always has a chance.
You're falling for it, Patrick. You're falling for
He
it.
always has a chance.
You're taking the name, Patrick. No. Once again, the heart says yes, but the head says no. He hasn't played since Pebble Beach a month ago, or whatever it was. His back is bad to begin with, and it's cold and wet there. Although he's wearing short sleeves, so maybe it's wearing up. Who knows? He didn't get enough practice rounds because the weather hasn't been good this past week. He even said that in a press conference he didn't feel good. I don't like this. This doesn't feel good for Tiger.
If he's saying he doesn't feel good, he's just throwing guys off the scent.
Oh my God. Wow. Whatever you say. I'd love to see Tiger in the mix. We all would, obviously.
So, I see where you're coming from, where you're saying he doesn't feel good. He's historically not good in bad weather.
He's never played this course, by the way, professionally.
I mean, it's tough, man. I mean, so you say he's never played the course, but Royal Port Rush sets up and plays like one of those like classic open venues that you can pretty much just pick it up and drop from venue to venue, and it'll play like you think it should for the Open Championship.
All right. Opening drive is gone. Hooked it left into the thick stuff.
He's done.
Had a pretty obvious grimace after taking the shot.
All right, he's done.
Really?
See you next week.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Are you just saying that just to like end it? Oh. I don't know. I feel like he might pack it in. It just doesn't feel like it's been going right for him. And he hasn't even started. Well, he just did, but you'd love to see him compete.
We'll just have to see.
What?
We'll just have to see.
Yeah, he's hunting majors at this point in his career, and this is the last one of the year, so you'd hope he can make it interesting because the last two he hasn't been that close, but he did get the Masters. You can't forget that.
That's correct.
I always fall back on that. Okay, while we're sticking in these kind of secondary sports, I just want to do a little quick Wimbledon minute. We saw a final for the ages for the men's on Sunday, where Novak Djokovic overtook Roger Federer, the 1 and the 2 seed there, respectively. Battled for about 5 hours, and then the final set went to the 25th game, or I guess 24 games plus a tiebreak, because the way it works now, starting this year, is that they play to 12-12 in games. I don't know if you know the scoring for tennis.
No.
Every other set is 6-6, right? It gets to 6. So the first one to 6 wins the set. If not, it's 7. The first set, then it's like 7-6, or actually, sorry, if it gets to 6-6, you play a tiebreak. First one to 7 points. Got it? Final set went all the way to 12-12, and then they played a tiebreaker. And for the third time of the day, Djokovic won the tiebreak. He got it 7-3, so all of his set wins came on tiebreakers. Bit of a heartbreaker for Roger, but he took it like a champ. And once again, Djokovic just proven that he's right there among Federer and Nadal. It was pretty crazy to see that Djokovic was almost like the evil one there, or he was almost the villain, because every time Roger won a point, you would hear it. Like the crowd was going nuts, and then Djokovic wins a point, and there's like the polite clap.
It's almost like Djokovic's own family was rooting for
Federer. Well, it was pretty funny because they were showing like Federer's wife and then Djokovic's family, and it was kind of funny to watch. But yeah, it was a little bit sad to see Roger go down because he does have a lot of success at Wimbledon in his career. Hasn't had it so recently, but it was a match for the ages. And then in the women's side, Serena Williams made it all the way to the final, but got slapped by Simona Halep, 6-2, 6-2. It was just not on for Serena, and that was it. So women's final definitely not as exciting as the men's, and good times down there at Wimbledon. But there's your Wimbledon update. Sad to see Roger lose. That's all I have to say.
I'm a Djokovic guy.
Really?
For no reason. I don't pay
Just
attention to tennis. I'm just a joke. I think it was like a few years ago, I saw like this, like I think it was a special on him. It might have been on ESPN. Just been a Djokovic guy.
Wow. All right, last thing, Patrick. You brought up a point that we should talk about earlier, so please further elaborate.
Oh, the NBA Coaches Challenge. I don't remember the specifics. I just remember sending a post to you and Ethan about it.
Oh, good. Coaches Challenge. Key features. Each team is entitled to one challenge in the game, regardless of whether the challenge is successful. A team can use its challenge in the following instances: a called personal foul, a called personal foul charged to its own team, a called out of bounds violation, or a called goaltending or basket interference violation. Okay. That's the gist of it. Very simple.
I think it's a step in the right direction. I think it has the potential. It has the potential to be really good. It has the potential to just be like a non-factor.
Yeah. The part I like about it is that they're really limiting it. One challenge per game.
Yeah.
That's nothing. All right. The part that worries me is that coaches are definitely going to save this to the end of the game, which is just going to slow it down that much more. Because we already see the end of the game where you have, foul, free throws, timeout, inbound, shoot, foul, free throw, repeat the process, right? That's how the end of the game works because that's just the strategy at this point. So how does it change when you also give them or give the coaches a challenge on fouls? Or I guess a challenge in general. Who's to say that they're not going to challenge, just any shot at the buzzer and be like, well, maybe he made contact. Let's just use the challenge here. I feel like it could really slow it down even more.
That's kind of like a go for broke situation where like we see in the NFL and the NHL kind of where like you have to take the chance.
Huh. I don't know.
But we just saw a lot in this year's playoffs and even during the regular season, like just how egregious some of the calls were.
Yeah. We'll see.
I think it's worth a try.
It's worth a try, but you just hope that it doesn't slow the game down because basketball is one of those games where it's going to be 2.5 hours and you're done. And that's kind of the beauty of it, You can watch a 7:30 game and be done by 10. Same with hockey.
Yeah.
Football, you're in it 1 to 5. Baseball, you're in it 7 to 11.
Yeah, and that's frustrating because 7-hour or baseball used to be all right, potentially 9:30, 10 o'clock here. Can get through this.
Yeah.
And now you're not getting home from the ballpark until after 11.
Yeah.
That's frustrating.
So yeah, pace of play and all that. You just gotta hope that basketball can maintain that. But yes, one challenge a game feels like it'll be small enough that it will appease the coaches and the teams while not destroying the pace of play. All right. Anything else to add, Patrick, before we wrap this one up?
Nothing.
All right. I'll give you the Tiger update one last time. Hacked it out of the rough. Another grimace. Ended up in the trap.
Okay.
It's not great. It's also starting to rain there. What?
Not looking good for our man.
Not yet. And 2 shots in, and he's already showing some pain. You have to wonder if he'll make it even through tomorrow's round, regardless of the score. Huh. Well, on that depressing note, it's been a good show, Patrick. It's been definitely one of our slower ones in terms of news this week. A little bit Red Sox heavy, which was kind of nice. A lot of Red Sox news. And I'm sure there will be a lot of Red Sox news when we return, coming back probably around next 10 days, I would think. Gonna have a little bit of a layoff here, but we're not missing a week. We don't do that. So we'll be back probably next weekend. But that's it for this show. So, as always, everyone, we thank you guys so much for listening and or watching, and we will see you next time.